Hi there Ford owners. Today in your 2019 Ford F-350 Super Duty, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install B&W's companion fifth wheel hitch. And this is what our hitch looks like when it's installed. This B&W hitch is an extremely well machined device, just like all of B&W's products. I will say compared to the other manufacturers, the machining and fit of theirs just seems to slide together way better than the others. The only thing that I found here with B&W on occasion is they go a little thick on the powder coating, which can sometimes make it a little difficult to install, but a thick powder coating is going to ensure that we don't have any rust and corrosion in the future. This hitch here is designed to drop right into a factory puck system on your truck. So whether you've got an OEM one or one from Reese that's installed in your truck, it'll simply drop right down in, and you simply use the levers here to put it in place. So this is one of the easiest fifth wheels to get installed. You don't need any base rails or anything. It just drops right into your truck. When you get it, it will come in a couple of different pieces. You'll have your base and your head, but it's pretty minor on the assembly, so this is a really quick way to get a fifth wheel up and running on your truck. This one has a rating of 20,000 pounds, so as long as you don't exceed that, you should be good to go to pull your fifth wheel trailer. There are larger ones available from B&W if you wanted to step it up to a larger size. You can get one that's very similar to this, just in a higher weight rating. The kingpin of your trailer is secured in the double jaws that you see here. We've got it in this is kind of the locked position. I just pulled the pin out though, so we can see here that when we put it in the unlocked position, the way that our jaws spread open so we can pull away. There is the mechanism inside here. I'm holding the handle here because you want to pinch your fingers, but when you go to back your trailer up and your kingpin slides in here, it pushes on the jaws and automatically retracts the handle back down and snaps it into place around your kingpin. Once you've hooked up, don't forget to take your safety pin here to ensure that it cannot come unlatched. To help ensure that you get the most life out of your hitch, there are grease fittings. There's one located here on the bottom so you can lubricate it for your moving components to ensure you don't ever have any metal on metal contact, keep everything moving freely. And it's also recommended to lube the top of the head here before you hook up, so that way your fifth wheel can rotate freely without any kind of binding or anything like that. If you wanted to minimize your mess, you can instead get a lube plate. They're available here at etrailer. It's a disc that is self-lubricating that'll go in the same location to provide you with that preventative non-metal on metal contact. So we looked at a few features of our hitch. Why don't you follow along with me and I'll show you how to get it installed in your truck. We'll begin our installation here at the back of the truck. We've got our base sitting back here. I recommend grabbing yourself an extra set of hands, a buddy, to just help you set it in the back of the truck. Once you get it in here, it's easier to move, but lifting it up high enough to get into the truck is pretty difficult by yourself. So we've got it just sitting in there. This is our puck system here. This is one from Reese, but it will be very similar if you've got a factory style puck system. And this is just going to drop right down in it. So we're going to remove the caps from our system here, so that way we can drop it down in. Once we get all these out of the way, we can then grab our unit. So our unit here, when you get it, it will come latched. I've already unlatched the ends right here, so just pull your pin out so you can freely move your handles. Our handles need to be in the outward position like this, facing out. This is the release position here. Now we'll just lift it up and line up the pegs here on the bottom into each of the slotted holes that we've got there. All right, we got it roughly where we need it, so we can now kind of slide it around as necessary to get it to drop in. Watch your fingers when you're doing this. That all looks good, so we'll then just lock it in place, twist your handle. There we go. That one, we got that one in. And then this one. Now if it's really stiff, sometimes it is going to be stiff. You may need to loosen up these nuts. Looking like we're probably going to need to loosen up that one some. Over here on this side, that one went okay, but this back one here as well, looks like we're going to have to loosen up both these back ones. To make our adjustment over here on this, we'll just need to remove our cotter pin. So we're going to grab that, bend it straight. And then we can slide it out after we've straightened it out. So it's nice and tight there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the nut here, we're going to loosen it up. And you see it's like this castle design. You can do it like one slot at a time if you want. Recheck. Too tight, just move in another slot. We're going to probably just move it 3 slots here, 3 little notches. So that seems a little bit too loose, so we'll tighten it up 1. Still a little bit too loose. And looks like that's our sweet spot probably right there. It's not too stiff. We can get it in place, but we want to feel a little drag. You don't want it to be too loose so your hitch has vibration. You want it to pull down in there. So that looks pretty good right there. We can even push it over if we want. We're just going to reinsert our cotter pin now. And then this should just push on through. Sometimes you got to assist it a little bit. So we'll be tapping it just a little bit to get it through. Once you've got it pulled through, just give a 90-degree bend to your cotter pin so it can't come back out. And once you've got it adjusted to where you can lock it in place with all of your arms, go ahead and take your pin, slide it through both of your handles to lock it in place. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side to get that one locked in as well. So now we can get our arms in place. That we've got the main base here, the risers here. These arms, you'll install one on each side. You can put it either way, whether you want, if you look at slightly offset, this is angled more than this one. This one's nearly straight up and down. It does have a slight angle to it. This one has a much more extreme angle. So if you install it like this, it positions your trailer slightly more towards the rear, about 1 inch in front of the rear axle here. If you were to install it like this, with the angle this way, it puts the trailer slightly closer to the cab, about 3 inches in front of the axle. So it's really up to you. Cab clearance is probably your first thing you want to verify. So I usually put it in this position to ensure that we have enough cab clearance that we're not going to contact the trailer in our cab when we make a sharp turn. If you know you've got plenty of clearance between your cab and your trailer for any turns you're going to make, like this is an 8-foot bed. We haven't seen the guy's trailer exactly yet, so we don't know how close it's going to be. So we're still going to cautionary put it this way further towards the rear. But if he sees he's got plenty of cab clearance, you can get a slightly better ride quality by putting the trailer a little bit further forward. It helps put the weight on both of your axles a little bit better, so you could bring it forward. So that again, cab clearance is your first check, and then if you have the clearance, you could bring it a little more forward if you do have that. So we're going to put it in here, just kind of give it a little twist because it won't be able to drop straight down. To attach our riser here, you can see it's got 4 holes, 2 on each side, and there are 5 holes here on each side stacked. So that gives you your height adjustment. You want to make sure that your trailer can clear your bed rails. So your highest position will be the top hole here on your riser with the top hole there. The medium position would be the top hole here with 1 hole down right there. And then our lowest position would be the lower hole in the lowest spot. And again, it's really based on your truck bed rail clearance. You want to make sure you've got enough clearance between your bed rails here and the bottom of your trailer. Ideally, you want those to be pretty parallel with one another to make sure that everything's going to clear when you turn and as you're bouncing over terrain and stuff, that the trailer's not going to contact those bed rails. So we're going to put ours in the medium position here. These are the bolts that we're going to use. Put a lock washer on there. And then you also have these plates here. This is going to go on the other side of these holes. So you guys kind of reach around the back side like that, and then we can install these in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this plate in there and get this installed. And there is an opening slot here too. You could also put your hand in here. It really just kind of depends on what's the easiest method for you. So after you get your plate slid in there, line it up with the holes. We want to have threads that we can see through each of the holes. Then we'll take our bolt here, slide it through the hole we're planning on using for our position, line it up with that plate, and then thread it in. And we want to try to get one started in here so that way it'll hold this thing up. It's kind of a pain holding everything together here, but you should be able to get it started in there. There we go. So we got that one started into the plate. We're going to go ahead and put our lower bolt in and get it started. Make sure you put your lock washer on there. Should be able to kind of twist this thing now. You're still going to have to adjust your plate some to get it to line up. There we go. And then we just thread that right into the plate there. So now that we've got both of them started right here, we're just going to repeat that process for the other side over here. Grab our bolt and our plate. I found it was easier, rather than feeding the plate through the hole, to feed the plate through the bottom and then use the hole on the side here to hold the plate. That seems to be the easiest for me to be able to hold all these pieces together. And finally our last one. Once we get this one started, we're going to perform the same procedures over on the other side to get the other side loosely installed like this. So now that we've got each one started, we're going to grab a 3/4 inch socket and run all these down. We can then go back and torque all of our hardware to the specifications outlined in our instructions. Next, we're going to install our spring assembly here. This clip here will slide into place onto your arm. We want to put it on the driver's side arm, and we want to put it on the front portion of it here. So that way our spring will keep our head slightly angled down. You might be able to just press it on there, but every time I've done one of these, I have to drive it on there with a hammer. I'm just not strong enough to push it in there. So we'll just take our hammer here, line it up. I also like to take my spring and just set it on here real quick, because we want the top of our spring here to be about a 1/2 inch down. So that's pretty close right there from the rubber bumper there. And now we'll just hammer it in place. Now we can attach our spring to our clip there. We'll take the spring, it's just going to sit there like that. The little bent portion is going to rest right on top of our clip. The small bolt that comes in our kit will push through, and we'll secure it with a nylon locking nut on the other side. Now we'll just need to snug that down. We'll use a 7/16 socket and wrench to do so. And with that secured on there, we're now ready to put our head assembly in place. So now we'll take our head assembly and just drop it into position. It just slides right into place. Your arm should go all the way down, and then you can reinsert your pins. If your arm's not all the way down, more than likely you're not going to be able to insert that pin. We'll then resecure it with the clip on the other side, and do the same thing over here. Next, we're going to install the handle onto our head here. So you can go ahead and pull the pin off. That'll let you slide it out. It's a little bit easier to install like this. Here's our handle here. We're going to put the sticker towards the top. It slides into place here. And then we're going to secure it with the included hardware. We're going to use the two holes closest to the center of our hitch here. This outer one is for that pin that we removed. So we'll drop our bolt down the top and then thread a lock nut on bottom. We'll then do the same thing with the other hole here. and then we're ready to snug them down. We'll use a 9/16 socket and a 7/32 Allen key. You can then push your handle back in and re-secure it with the pin. And at this point now, our hitch is assembled and ready to hook up to your trailer. And that completes our installation of B&W's companion fifth wheel hitch on our 2019 Ford F-350 Super Duty.